Okay, if you want to start taking photography seriously and turn this passion that we're all obsessed with into a full-time, money-making career, it's gonna take more than a few good photos and some expensive gear. Alright, let's put all the fluff to the side. How good you are at taking photos is only going to get you so far. If you want to turn this craft that we're all obsessed with into a full-time thing and start making some real money from it, you have to understand that business is just as important, if not more important, than the actual skills you possess as a photographer. Okay, so you've decided that you love photography so much that literally doing anything else hurts. So we're doing it. We're going for the jump. We're going full-time photography. We want to make bank. How do we do that? First things first, you need to start by building a brand. Pick your business name, put together a crafty little slogan if you want, or don't. Try to sort of establish your brand personality, what makes you, you. And most importantly, a logo. So there's tons of options out there for getting a logo made, and maybe you're crafty enough to do it yourself in programs like Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, Canva. The options are literally endless. But if not, just go on Fiverr. Now, one thing to keep in mind on Fiverr is that much like the prices you're going to want to one day charge, you get what you pay for. A $5 logo is going to look drastically different than even a $50 logo or a $500 logo. You get what you pay for. So for me personally, I'm using this little CS monogram logo that I designed, because my brand name is Current Spaces, so the CS monogram logo just kind of made sense. Fun fact, I was actually a designer for 10 years before I even fell in love with photography, so this part I kind of had a little leg up on. Okay, so that aside, you've now got your logo and a bit of a brand going on here that kind of represents you and who you are as a photographer and a brand. But it's not shoot time. Hold your f***ing horses. You need to know how to talk to clients. You can't just tell them to go f*** themselves if something doesn't go your way. That's not gonna fly. You gotta be able to put on some charm sometimes and obviously be kind and everything your parents taught you growing up. You need to understand just how important it is to have client relation skills. The amount of times I personally have landed gigs through word of mouth is insane. Even dealing with clients through emails going back and forth, we may not have, landed that agreement that I wanted and I didn't end up shooting for them, but just because I was kind enough to continue talking and kind of building a relationship, they actually passed me over to another brand where I landed to deal with them. Word of mouth is huge, and knowing how to talk to clients and just talk to people in general is going to be a massive asset to your business moving forward. Next up, social media. I know, this one kills us all. Social media is a full-time job and a grind in its own, but it is so worth it, especially when you're trying to start a business. So for this one, let's just talk Instagram because that's where I've had the majority of my success and because it's the photo sharing app. Used to be, at least. Social media is insanely important these days because almost every brand you know or have ever even heard of is in some way or some form active on social media. It is the number way to connect with brands, connect with other creatives, build client relations like we talked about in the previous point, and have your work seen. That's like the most important part, is just having people see your work. There's no better place for that to happen than social media. I actually made a reel on Instagram a while ago talking about how you can't define somebody's skill based on their following. And here's why. You can literally be the best photographer in the world, but if you suck at social media, you're not engaging with your community or keeping up or posting consistently, your page isn't going to be seen. The whole point of the algorithm is to keep you on that app as long as possible. And if you're not giving anything or providing anything to the algorithm, bye. It doesn't care about you. It's not going to show your stuff to people because you're not keeping them on the app. You're irrelevant to them. That sounds so rude, but it's like super true. If you don't play the social game, you're not going to get the social fame. That's just how it goes. Is that like an actual phrase? I think it should be. So the downside of this is that yes, the bigger your following, the more brands are going to see your work. And I'm only calling that a downside because most of us just want to shoot. We don't want to have to worry about social media and the upkeep that goes into that. We just want to shoot and make deals that way. But if you want to be a successful business, you need to understand that social media is just as important as everything else. So there's two reasons, probably many more, that brands are going to want to work with you if you have a bigger following. Number one, they just genuinely like your work and the algorithm is starting to push your work to these brands, so now they're seeing you. You're getting that exposure. And the second one is that big numbers are super appealing to brands. They want you shooting their products and showing your work to your audience because now that's putting that brand's work or products in front of your audience of however many thousand people are following you. Traditional advertising now is completely different than it was 10 years ago or even 5 years ago for that matter. I myself would much rather see somebody I'm inspired by or influenced by talking about a product that they love versus seeing it on a billboard or on a sign on top of a urinal while I'm trying to take a leak in a bar. That's just not selling me. So where am I going with all this? We're talking photography. You need to be better at social media because this is going to lead to increased brand deals or clients to shoot for, or just exposure on your work in general. And all three of those are hugely important when building a business. So my advice to you is to get your social media presence set up and established, post consistently, and it will benefit you majorly. I promise you. Okay, so we've built our brand. We know how to talk to clients. We're starting to post on social media and our numbers are starting to grow. What now? A pitch deck. So a pitch deck is literally just a presentation deck that includes your work and what you're pitching to the brand or client that you want to shoot for. Now back up a second. I should actually know that this is probably better off geared towards companies or big brands that you're trying to shoot for versus like a family. It might be hella weird if you send a pitch deck to like a mom and dad. So yeah, brands first for this one. So what goes into a pitch deck? I normally include a first page about me, kind of who I am, what my interests are, what my style is. I'll normally include a page on my social media stats, my reach, my engagement, all that kind of stuff. But if you're not there yet with numbers, you don't really have numbers that sell, I'd probably leave those out until we're a little bit further into the future and we've got a bit more of a following happening and some better numbers to sell. So leave that out to start and maybe focus more on a page that kind of presents the client's problem and how your photography or the work you're offering is going to be a solution. You want to present a problem and solve it with your work. And on the same page, I'm normally going to just do a little brief write-up about what it is that I want to do for them. Again, how my photography is going to help them and kind of what I see this partnership or agreement entailing. Now, there's literally so much deeper you can go with pitch decks, talking about traction and brand competition and finances, and it's just chill. Okay, we're trying to land a couple deals here to get our foot in the door. We want to get started, not pitch into Apple. Relax. Basically just put together a deck that showcases your interest in working with the brand, kind of what you can do for them, and if you're feeling brave, your price. Here's a little fun fact. Normally the person who gives their price first loses. I always try to let the brand tell me their budget. That way I can always try to go a little bit higher versus underselling myself when their budget was actually like way up here. So try to save price for the end. But again, we're just trying to focus on getting the project. We're not trying to get rich yet. So once that's taken care of, we've now got a brand looking sharp. We know how to talk to clients. Our social media is booming. We got a pitch deck that is irresistible. Now let's start talking about how to make a little bit of extra income when the phones aren't ringing. We're going to have dry spells. We're not going to be shooting every day. There's going to be times where you're like, what do I do? So let's try to focus on making some passive income. Lightroom presets, wallpapers, workshops. Get creative with this. There's so many different ways to make money as a photographer outside of just snapping somebody's picture. So just from selling presets last year alone, I made a substantial amount of money, almost enough to pay my bills. Just from selling presets, a $30 preset bundle and a couple $8 wallpaper packs. You sell a few of those a day, you're making pretty good coin. Put that on top of your brands and your actual photo shoots, it's starting to look pretty promising. And I mean, isn't the goal to make money while you sleep? Who doesn't want to get paid to nap? I do. Okay, recap time. We know the importance of building a brand. You get your company name, your slogan, logo, website, whatever. We know how important social media is, posting consistently, engaging with our community, interacting with brands. We know we have to respect our clients. If you want any sort of positive word of mouth recommendations, I would pretty much focus extra hard on this one. We know we need pitch decks to try landing those bigger deals, and we know how to make some extra coin when we hit those dry spells and the phone isn't ringing. Please drop me a comment down below and let me know what I missed. There's so many different aspects that go into starting a business. These are the things that I focus on the most and seem to be working, at least for now. And as my business begins to scale, there will be more things that I start injecting into my business strategy. These points have literally taken me from hating my job to absolutely loving it. Please remember to subscribe to my channel. I teach all things photography, tips, tricks, and hacks, and videos like this, and I want to keep making them. So please subscribe to my channel. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Peace!